Welcome everyone to the OC Show Season 3 episode 10, I guess. Yeah, that's episode 10. This is the first half of 2016 is already over. This is the second half of the year. We are straight in August. There's a lot of competition going on. There's a lot of things that change in the first 6 months of this year, and we're gonna review some of them today with some of our guests that we have tonight. The first one is the Build Zoid from UK. He's the captain of our overclocking team on Reddit, and that's the second time in a row in the show, in the OC Show. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you for being up that late on the time, because you're in UK, so it's like the middle of the night for you now. But I heard that
you had like 2 a.m. That's totally cool.
Yeah, totally cool. It's summer vacation week, so everything is all fine at this point. And I heard that you had a lot of energy drink just before the show, so everything should be on track.
Not a huge amount, but I've been going through the can throughout the day, so.
That's still way more than what you need to be up for today. A lot of things to discuss and a lot of competition that actually competing on. The second guest for tonight is Mark0053 from Canada. He's the winner, actually the champion of the HWBot World Tour 2016 North America. He will be competing for a title of the HWBot World Championship later on this year, and he's from Canada. And today with us, Mark, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thanks for having me over.
You're welcome, man. It's been a pleasure. And for those of the guys that already saw you somewhere, if you have been here last week, that was last weekend or the weekend before? The weekend before, like a week and a half, we were actually in the PA event in the USA, in Pennsylvania, with you, and you were actually trying out some of the new special game mode, overclocking mode that we were trying along with Timothy at the same time as actually you were against Cheapaz. And thank you for being with us tonight, and I hope that's going to be okay for you to be there for the next hour with us.
It will, thanks.
Awesome. And live from Taiwan, we have Timothée Xiala that is actually producing the show for us tonight. How are you doing, man?
Very good, thanks.
So the topic for tonight, we're gonna have the editor's pick. So basically everything we wanted to talk about for this week. That can be pretty much anything that our guest or we wanted to show you guys. Of course, the OC-Esports competition update with all the latest competition that are going on right now on OC-Esports and HWBot. We're gonna talk about specifically the Road to Pro season 2016 round 3. That's the third round of this year's season. There's a lot of things to talk about that one. And for the Cheapaz Chips season 1, this is one of the special that is driving a lot of people to buy some very low-end graphic cards, and you will know why later on tonight. And of course, the last topic is a bit of historical one. The 10 years of Conroe. It's been 10 years that Conroe and the Core 2 Duo by Intel were launched, and we are going back a little bit on what happened over the past 10 years in this industry. Are you guys ready?
Yeah. I hear someone has an awesome mechanical keyboard in here.
Sorry about that. Maybe I should start using the red one, but
you're doing great typing on the keyboard. That's why. For you guys watching us, for you guys watching us live on Twitch, don't hesitate to feel free to ask questions or jump into any topic that you want to discuss on news that you saw this week. Although don't forget that we have the subscribe button activated now on Twitch, so go become a subscriber. There's going to be some awesome new surprise coming up in the next few weeks. And of course, you can also go on the Teespring shop. We have some awesome Keep Pushing It T-shirt. The limited edition is. You have one, Tim. You have the red one.
Yep, today is red.
So, Tim, actually, what is the difference between this new T-shirt and the previous one that we had?
It's exactly the same T-shirt aside. So the previous one has the Twitch logo, the new one don't. It's just because it's just faster to set up campaigns without going through Twitch, because they have to reapprove everything every time. It's kind of complicated, so we just do it by our own, and it just works exactly the same actually, so just easier.
And what is the price for one of these awesome T-shirts?
Ooh, I would have to look that up because I'm not exactly sure, but let me open the page. So
I think we changed the price as well, make it a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, so you can get a t-shirt for about $22.99. And then after the yeah, and if you want to get hoodies, it's $38.99. So plus shipping, of course. The shipping for some reason on Teespring is a lot cheaper if you live in the US. So I recommend if you live in the, for example, in Asia or something like that, you make a group order with other people, because otherwise, so for some reason, shipping becomes really expensive for no reason. I think it's they just don't have any warehouse there. But otherwise, yeah, get one.
Go get one, and don't forget, keep pushing it.
Yeah, the campaign ends in 12 days, so after that, we don't do a campaign for all the time, so you have 12 days left to order if you want to get one.
Awesome. First topic for tonight, the like or not like editor speak for this week. Blitzzoid, what was the news you wanted to talk about?
So recently a university, let me just get the article up here so you know what exactly it was. Give me a second. There we go. The University of Utah and the University of Minnesota, they created a new material. So it's basically a new material for power transistors. So that would be like MOSFETs for power supplies, and this material has the potential to be a lot more efficient than the current, gallium nitride that is being used for, power MOSFETs. And this can really basically it can really increase efficiency in laptops, and it'll really shrink down the size of VRMs, especially because that's a big difference, right? Like right now, if you want a power efficient MOSFET, it needs to be really, really big so that you cram a lot of material so that you have good conductivity when it's turned on. With this material, in theory, they could scale down the VRMs a lot more. So you'll see, laptops and other devices will have smaller VRMs while packing the same amount of power. This could also translate into some gains for power supplies. Like some of the really high-end power supplies these days for computers are getting out of hand with how big they are. So you could see those getting a bit smaller or possibly more efficient. Either way, they can push it in either direction, depending on what exactly they want to focus on. So yeah, I just think this is really cool. I really like this news, and I'm excited to see, we might end up with like 4-phase VRMs that beat today's 8-phase stuff. And that would be really cool, because that would significantly, it could really reduce the costs of PCBs and stuff, so we'd see better quality just across the board on cards.
I guess maybe even more powerful mobile devices too. Eh?
Yeah. That's the main focus of the article itself, is that they can now basically cram much more power into mobile devices, because you don't have so much and also you won't have as much efficiency loss, so your battery will last longer and stuff. So,
well, that's going to be interesting to see what people can implement. So far, to make it clear, these are just early testing, right? There's no
They're
official...
just early testing. Basically, they discovered that if you take 2 oxides of strontium titanate and neodymium titanate, you mix them together, they have much higher conductivity than what's currently being used. But it's not like it works in a lab. It's not necessarily production ready. We might see this in a couple years. We might not see it at all. Similar to, graphene, which has been talked about for ages and ages and ages, and it works in labs great. We still don't have anything with it.
It's like quantum
to mass produce then, maybe.
Yeah. It might end up being too complicated to mass produce or something, but still, it could be very interesting if this actually works in the real world and outside of a laboratory.
Very cool.
I can't wait to see that. Of course, we are a few years away from that to be actually on the market and have something worth it. Thank you, Blitzzoid, for this news. Completely something that I didn't knew about before tonight. Mark 0053. So, what will be your pick of this week news?
So I spent about most of the day, I should say, trying to get a Nvidia GTX Titan X. That was quite a lovely experience.
What? You tried to spend all your money?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's always like that every launch. So this morning at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Nvidia launched on their website that you could buy it. So you could click on the buy now. And there was some issues. It took about half an hour before you could actually put it in your cart and then, go through the process of buying it. And then all of a sudden, myself and a few other Canadians on Overclock.net, we were talking about, nobody could get one. It was saying that you have to change your address to a legible shipping location. So I spent some time on the phone trying to figure out what was going on, and a lot of the Canadians were quite frustrated to get things rolling. Then eventually around, I would say 11 o'clock, things got through, and we all got to spend most of our money and get one single card. And for Canadians, 1,200 USD. By the time you put the Canadian tax, it varies from 5% to 15%, depending on where you live. And with the currency exchange from USD to Canadian, by the time I paid for this card, it was $1,832. So
holy hell!
Yeah. A little sad, but looking at the reviews, but on the positive side, I was looking at reviews, some of the early reviews anyways. Performance goes from anywhere from 25 to 35% more performance compared to the GTX 1080. So that's quite exciting because the GTX 1080 was barely passing benchmarks compared to a 980 Ti. Some of the guys on LN2 were doing better on the 980 Ti. So I think this is going to be a nice little generation for the Pascal. I really hope to see all new world records with this one. And yeah. So I should get my card tomorrow at 5 p.m. and hopefully I'll be posting on the bod by tomorrow evening.
Yeah, I hope at that price they ship within 24 hours.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Like, you're not like for like $30 more to just have it the next day.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
It says out of stock on the website, so it's already all gone.
Yeah, this afternoon I was checking the threads again, and it didn't take long for it to sell out. I think people were buying 2, 3, 4 cards at a time, creating different accounts because the maximum is 2 that you can buy at a time. And people were maxing that out, and I think there's going to be a lot of scalpers. So I was checking on eBay, and prices are already over 2,000 for the cards.
Yeah, for sure.
oh my god, that's horrible.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. At this price, and well, I don't know how many units they are, so they could have like 100 units and sell out quite fast.
I think they had more than
And maybe
100,
tonight they'll have.
They should have
notes.
more than 100. I mean,
I
these
would
are
think so.
reject Teslas.
Yeah.
So, though,
Well, just
knowing
on
the
the
history of the
Overclock.com.
Titans, knowing
I
the
was just
history of
saying
the
on
Titans, you might end up,
Overclock.net.
you might have
You
like
would-
if you, like in the past, we always saw Titans with E-powers because the PCB just never kept up under LN2. So this is just going to be completely ridiculous again, isn't it? So. Because I don't think Nvidia have improved the PCB. I mean, the cool thing is Pascal doesn't seem to need a ton of voltage, but if it scales with voltage, I can see a lot of burnt cards really quick.
Yeah.
Because Nvidia's Titans, it was the original Titan needed an E-power, the Titan Black Edition needed an E-power, and nobody actually overclocked that as far as I know. The Titan X needed an E-power. There was a great thread from Der Bauer on the Hardware Bot forums about E-powering those cards. And this is the new Titan X. I expect more E-powers just because that's what we've been seeing so far.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting compared to the Pascal GTX 1080. The voltage, it doesn't scale that well for even underwater and air. So I was running at almost 1 volt and pushing to 1.25. There's barely any improvements. We'll see what it does on liquid nitrogen for sure.
I like the way as well that they call it the Titan X, and the previous one was also the Titan X. So everyone was looking to call this one the Titan P, like for Pascal, right?
I think it's the Titan X, the ultimate.
No, because then when they have then they'd have another Titan and they'd run out of namings. If this one was the ultimate Titan X, then
yeah, but what would be the next one?
The Ultimator.
That's the ultimate Titan X.
Maybe they're just
No,
trying.
they can have the Titan X Ultimator.
Yeah, maybe they're just trying to do it like
And then they can have the Titan X Ultimate Test, and then they have the Titan It's an ultimate test error.
And it will finish Zoid at the
They'll
end.
just keep adding on letters.
But actually,
Yeah,
they did change the name. They did change the name. The
They
previous
dropped the
one was
GeForce.
called the Nvidia GeForce GTX Titan X, and this one is just called Nvidia Titan X. So they are basically creating a new series on the side of the GeForce.
Yes.
It's getting
But,
rid of GeForce for the super high end. Yeah.
The heatsink still has the GeForce branding, which, like the side of the
Which
Oh,
means
no, no,
that
yeah.
might have been a very late decision in the process.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, there's a
Some
cool
guys
video
were
with it.
were buying the wrong cards too this morning. They were going on Newegg and seeing GTX Titan X and buying them. The price is almost the same because the third-party sellers are still asking quite a premium for their original Titan X. So a few people got mixed up. So I think in the next few days there's got to be some people cursing and
Oh my god,
trying to
more
get
drama.
that sorted out and more drama.
That's what you get when you can't come up with good names.
Yeah, it's gonna do the same actually with for example the MacBooks for the Apple stuff, or the very first iPads when they were not calling them iPad 2,
Or
iPad
Doom.
3. Yeah. Oh
Or
yeah.
Doom.
Or that.
Which Doom?
Oh.
Or Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider got a refresh.
True.
What else? There's a bunch of games. The games industry loves just
in my
putting out a
opinion,
game and
the
dropping
worst naming, in my opinion, is still Battlefield. Battlefield 1942, Battlefield 2142, Battlefield something, Battlefield Bad Company, Battlefield 2, Battlefield 1. What the fuck?
They should have done Battlefield Good
Did
Company.
you ever learn how to
Battlefield
count?
Good Company.
I'm
It's coming. It's coming. Wait for it. Don't give them more ideas, guys.
Oh my god.
just need to put out a Titan, and that'll be hell. Because then you'll have people going on eBay selling the old Titan at the new Titan price.
Yeah, I see that. It's the same size of the memory modules. It's still 12 gigabytes, so that makes things even more confusing.
Yeah, I do personally think that it's honestly something that is not good for the consumer, because that's so confusing. Okay, maybe you want to build up on that Titan X
Just want to
brand,
build a
but
brand, yeah. Build on the brand.
But if they
But
want to
come
put
on,
the
it's-
Titan brand, they can have like the Titan 1 or the Titan 2, Titan 3, and then just keep increasing the number as they get better and better. And that would be not confusing as hell. Whereas they're like, unless they plan to do Titan X's until the end of time, in which case we'll end up with a situation like for Apple where you say, I have a MacBook Pro, and then you have to say the model year. Right?
Yeah.
You say
And
like
even that
MacBook Pro
actually doesn't
2011.
help. You have to specify if
Yeah,
it's
they
early or
sometimes-
late.
Yeah, because they split it between the different months as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, boy.
I don't know what they want to do. We'll see.
that's crazy. Well, thank you, Mark, for this. Well, that triggered a debate actually. that did trigger a debate for us.
I hope it works.
I sure hope
Well,
so.
we can't wait to see you having it for tomorrow. You know what? Just you have a webcam now, so just record yourself unboxing the card, and then
And get a
post-
billion views.
Yeah. This is my 1800 USD Titan X.
That's right.
I mean, you'll be like, you'll pretty certainly be one of the first people on YouTube to unbox a Titan X. So, like, in terms of just
Right.
getting the timing right, the view count will be high. If you want to get into YouTube,
That's
that
a good point.
Fame is
You
waiting.
know what? Like, unboxing my new GTX 9 Titan X, and you just unbox the old one.
No one
I
will
think
know
people would
anyway from
notice
the
these things,
PCB.
fellas.
That's
No
right.
one will notice unless you do bench. No one will notice.
Yeah, very
No,
little
the heat
people
sink's
would
different.
know. Yeah. But you should do it just to see if someone notices.
I should.
Oh boy.
I just realized I should do a PCB breakdown for the old. Oh no, wait, I did that one.
Just redo it. It's trendy right now.
I should do the old Titan X, and it would get me the views for the new one.
What to expect from the new Titan X PCB breakdown? You take the old one and say, you know what, they could do that different.
Oh boy. Timothy, what would be your news for the week?
So actually, I like all the small gadgets, and I'm a big fan of the Xiaomi products. So the Xiaomi phone, I have a Xiaomi 3 here, which is getting old actually. I should start thinking about upgrade. But I also had a Xiaomi Band, so that kind of wearable that you can were the rest. Basically, the first editions were not smartwatches, but they used to be just very simple speedometers plus kind of notification vibration stuff. So basically you configure it, and it had colored like RGB color LEDs, and you could, for example, say that if it's a WhatsApp message it's green, and if it's Facebook it's blue, etc, etc. So I like that a lot, but I got last weekend the new one, which is the Xiaomi Band 2. So here at least they changed the name and increased the number. That's good.
They're starting to understand the naming scheme as well.
Yeah. So basically that one is it's very similar. The only difference is that they added a OLED screen, and the cool part is that now I have something on the wrist that also gives me the time, which is a lot more useful than the previous one. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I use it like now since this weekend. I don't actually use the heartbeat thing so much. I guess it's probably some kind of feature that is useful if you have maybe some kind of heart condition, but even then I would not trust that sensor too much. It's
well, they always tell you it's not for official, health tracking things. It's just it's not something you can use for medical purpose.
No, you can. They say you use it for sport and stuff like that. So I wore it the other day when I was at the gym, and I think with sweat and when you move, the heartbeat tracker anyway, like if you put it on continuous monitoring, maybe once every 2 or 3 minutes, it just loses connection or something, and it does take a little bit of time for the tracker to kind of remeasure the heart rate, so you lose like 30 seconds or 40 seconds, which if you are having a heart attack is probably not a good thing, because it's 40 seconds too late. But anyway, the device is cool. It still can be configured to vibrate. There's some cool apps on the Play Store where you can basically install some extra features, so through some kind of retro hardware engineering stuff that the guys did. So you can configure, for example, that it displays some kind of Facebook icon on the OLED screen. If it's a Facebook message, same for WhatsApp, etc. So it's pretty cool. For notification, it's the best, when you get a message. If it feels that it vibrates in your pocket, you don't want to take out your phone, especially if you're in a meeting or something. But I don't want to see the message as well, because once you see the message, it's like you feel obliged to either reply or it's in your head or stuff like that. So now I just need to know. Yes, like example for yours, you read the message and then you're screwed. You already cut your concentration or whatever you were doing. So I just need to know if it's WhatsApp or if it's very important or something like that, and I check it. Otherwise I have a Facebook notification for, it's probably this guy replying to me or someone else sending a message, but it's probably not that important. If it was important, it would be either an email. And you can also put stuff like, for example, it detects who is the recipient or who is the sender of the email or the message. So you can do special notifications with extra vibrations, things like that. So that's the cool part. So I use it quite a lot. So yeah, that's my news for the week.
Well, that was a special one, definitely not something related to overclocking. And mine is about Windows 10 anniversary update. So it's been a year that Windows 10 is out. There's a lot of new features, some that I will most probably never use, mostly like the Cortana one, the Mail app, because I use only Gmail, stuff like this. But for me, the most important one is the Bash shell. So you can have a Bash shell script directly inside your Windows 10. I'm a big fan. As you know, like most of our servers are running Linux now, so well, that's one way of having it without having to run a Linux machine in a virtual machine and stuff like this. So this is just going to be a little bit easier, especially if you want to script and so on. And one thing I don't really like, but I want to say about this update is the Sentinel apps, the way that they are moving all the existing application towards their unified Windows platform. So that's the thing they call UWP. Yeah. And there was actually a discussion earlier late last week about that. I think that was on the Next Web. One of the guys wrote that this could be a way for Microsoft to actually limit people using Steam in the end. So maybe in 3 to 4 years from now, if they force all the games to use the UWP platform, of course that would be easier to have Xbox game and PC game in the same package pretty much. But that means they will have to all go through the Microsoft Store. So then Steam Store, Origin Store, and all these like third-party game store will actually have a lot of no, a lot more difficulty to compete. So yeah, that was one of the concerns about that.
That's why they
Who knows? But they told it like the new guy,
the Microsoft Store. Ever.
Yeah, and the new guy, the Indian guy that actually took over the Microsoft, he told it, I just want one platform. I don't want everyone to use the same store. I want everyone to use the same app because I want one ecosystem to manage. That's pretty much what Google is doing with Android, and all the Chromium books and Chrome itself as a browser that is more than just a browser nowadays. So we will see what happens in the next few years, but no. We don't know yet, and maybe if that happens, well, let's say Steam might be able to push back the Linux project with the Steam machine. Who knows?
In the living room, maybe. Not sure.
That was my first news.
PC.
Yeah, I got a second one. This is not related directly to us. It's Tesla and SolarCity. That agreed to merge for $2.5 billion. It's all made out of stock. There is no cash involved, only stock options. These two companies, so Tesla, you know, they're doing the electrical car, super good looking and good one. Tesla was founded by Elon Musk. Elon Musk, the same guy that owned SpaceX and SolarCity. So actually, Elon Musk was in his 10-year... What was the name, Timothy? Like the 10-year plan for Tesla, right?
The master plan.
The master plan, the 10 years master plan. So actually, Elon Musk explained what he did for the past 10 years was all based on one master plan that he explained 10 years ago. It's actually a little bit in like 2 years up front in this official planning. And the goal for him is, and he was saying in this master plan for the next 10 years coming from now, that the cars and the company making solar panel have to be one to be able to deliver cars and autonomous electricity and stuff like this to actually the mass. So that was he was saying, like explaining that he was doing Tesla as a super high-end car, super expensive, but to found a little bit cheaper car, a little bit less expensive to found the actually mass production for it. So I can't actually wait to see what's going on. From what I heard as well, Elon Musk did not participate in the voting about that merger because actually he's having interest in both. So I guess he wasn't even allowed to do it. I don't exactly know the US regulation for that, but yeah.
He probably got a lot of money in stocks back, so.
Well, anyway, any of the ways he's making money on it.
Well, yeah, it's his company and you're selling it to someone else, which is him, so no matter which way he would have gone, he would have made money anyway, right? That's the whole point. But it's good, I guess it will simplify for them kind of the expansion of whatever they want to do, especially with those home batteries, because otherwise it would not make sense to pump electricity from the grid for those ones. So, and if you link that to your car, you know.
If you can recharge your car with solar panel from your own home, then that's genius.
Well, maybe what we will see,
like the is less resilient. It's more resilient actually. It's more difficult to take down the grid. And over the past decade, there was the discussion that if you want to throw a war, the first thing you should take down is the grid. The second one is the internet, actually.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see. When are you getting your Tesla car, Truth?
I wish I could order one, but I don't need a car here in Montreal. So,
how many Titan X is worth a Tesla car?
And you ask one question: would you rather get a Tesla car like a Model S or a huge bunch of Titan X?
Yeah,
equivalent quantity of Titan X's. That'd be a few tens of Titan X's.
Yeah, more is more.
That would
whichever.
Depending on which exact Tesla, but even like the new like low end one.
Yeah.
Like low end Tesla.
Low end at like
new low end one. I think that would be like
right?
30. That would be like 30 Titan X's. The
Not
new
that much
Titan
if you
X's.
think about it.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. Here's a graphics card. It costs 1/30th of a car. Not a car.
And that's already not that much of a cheap car, because if you look out there, there's much
that's like
cheaper
a
cars
real...
already.
Yeah. Like it's only what I think the the really high-end Teslas go around $100,000. So that's 100 Titan X's.
Yeah. Well, that's actually
That's
where
awful.
you can see how maybe, I don't know if you can really relate the price of a graphics card to how difficult it is to engineer. But if you see that you can buy cars, like brand new cars, like shitty brand new cars, okay, to like between 5 and 10k euros, you would have a graphics card next to it. You can see like how easy it is to make a car compared to a graphics card. But I guess for most people, people will be like, what?
Well,
Really?
well, the thing is, a lot of that would probably be demand because people need a car. Like, it's a big.
How many
for a lot of
need a
people,
Titan
it's like
X?
Yeah, versus how many people like Titan X is entertainment. So ultimately, sure, the Titan X has tens of years. Well, how long has Nvidia been around? For ages and ages, and basically all the R&D from previous silicon also packs into the newer stuff.
True. So some of it is paid for, right?
So it's just like, yeah, but still, it's like several years for one graphics card to
But
R&D.
still, that's super expensive. There's people that do not buy a PC that is worth that price. Like a complete PC with screen, keyboard, mouse, webcam, and everything. Yeah?
I mean, I can go down and get a second-hand car for like half a Titan X. And
Well,
I'm in the UK.
The same goes for the Broadwell CPUs, etc., etc.
Oh yeah.
You can go high-end in everything, right? The same goes for bikes and whatever else you would buy.
The 6950X is the reason I decided I give up on X99. You know, I used to believe in the high-end desktop platform from Intel because it was like
you were a believer.
No, it was like I'll go pay $1,000 and I'll have the best CPU, and it'll be the best. But then Intel goes and it's like no, not $1,000, $1,500, and I'm like, oh, I know where this is going. Next year I'll be paying $3,000, won't I? So I just gave up. End of. Yeah, basically this is my
this
last.
year it's only 1,700, so it's still okay.
It's
so next
2K.
year we're going to be doing 2K. The year after 2.5K. I mean, the original Titan was $1,000. Now the new one's $1,200.
Well, that's no.
The thing that I really
that's gonna be interesting to talk about that in the Conroe. Actually, over the past 10 years, did the price actually really increased or not? So we have some numbers as well.
Too old. That's too old. I didn't overclock at that time. I don't even know what Conroe is. That's like the cover 2
because that's going to be 30 minutes. We're actually already on that, and we just made the first topic.
All good. We're gonna have to speed up.
Just give a quick update about all the competitions going on OC-Esports now.
Yeah. Okay. I will try to make it very quick. I think most of what I mentioned last week in the OC show is kind of the same, so there's not so much more to actually say. Team Cup is still going on. There's 2 new competitions we should mention first. So there's the MSI Godlike OC Season 2 2D Battle. I say 2 competitions because there's Ambient 1 and Extreme 1. So of course you can see how sandbagging is working its way already. There's 30 people already competing in the Ambient 1, which is pretty cool. We should see some very interesting things here. Note that for the Ambient 1 it's reserved to the leagues that have no access to extreme cooling, of course. So, and for the Extreme 1, those are the guys that do, of course, Extreme, Elite, etc. And here for now, nobody yet has submitted a score. I guess everyone is waiting to watch to see who is going to do what. Especially it's on X99 and Broadway, so that's going to be quite an interesting competition as well. So if you guys have that kind of hardware, check it out. There's some cool prizes, actually, that is very worth mentioning. MSI did an awesome job at lining up a nice prize selection. There's some motherboards, some Intel CPUs, always good to get. Some G-Skill memory as well, and a bunch of goodies of all kinds. So there's prizes all the way to the 5th place, so I would give it a try if I were you. Other competition, like I said before, Team Cup still going very strong, 63 teams right now. No surprise, Warp 9 Systems in the lead, followed by Overclock.net and the Italian team Extreme Overdrive OC Team Italy. So that hasn't changed since the OC show episode of last week. We'll see if Overclock.net can close up a little bit the gap, but it seems Warp is really into it. Crazy, actually. Last year they also completely rocked it. Other competition going as well. Oh, I think I have a little error loading the competition. But it's Rookie Rumble, so there's a Rookie Rumble still going, and also a Novice Nimble as well. So depending which league you're in, check it out. There's always some G-Skill memory kits to win in the Rookie Rumble as well. So if you're new to overclocking, this is a competition you should totally give a try. And after that, also the Pro C Challenger, the Pro C Road to Pro, sorry, so the Challenger Series and the Pro C, both round 3 have started for the 2016 season. And we will come back to that a little bit later on.
A little bit now, actually, because that's now that we're going to be talking about the season 2 of the Pro OC, the Road to Pro OC. This is round 3. This one's going to start, actually started just yesterday, yep. So August 1st, and that's gonna go until September 30th. So basically all August and September will be dedicated to round 3 of the Pro OC Championship and the Road to Pro OC. So the Pro OC Championship is basically for the professional overclockers, basically displaying their skills, what can they do, etc. Earlier today, Dr. Weez from South Africa was actually preparing benching for this special round, and he was benching on Geekbench 3, and he was saying that he has not a lot of experience on that benchmark, so it was very the beginning of how to discover the trick and so on. So if you want to know more information or follow someone that is actually trying to get into a bet score about this stage in Geekbench, just go check out Dr. Wiz _OC on Twitch. We'll post the link in the chat in the next few minutes. But most importantly, like the Road to Pro, like the different divisions are actually made out for different kind of targets. So for example, the Division 1 is the full out one. So basically it's a Core i7 and any single GPU. You have 5 stages that you have to compete in or submit a benchmark in to get qualified. So far in Division 1, the person in the lead for this round is Stevut from Romania. But if we look back at the official global ranking for the season,
those are the ones here. Actually,
I can't see it on your screen, Tim.
They're at the bottom. Just scroll down from the Road to Pro page.
Yeah,
on your own screen.
Actually, the leader for Division 1, the Challenger Division 1, is Metal Racer with almost 900 points. So that's going to be a very tight battle. Of course, you have to be, consistent in the scores that you can put along the season. Of course, this is a season competition.
You can actually, if you click on the bubble, sorry, Truth to interrupt, you can see where they got the points from each division. So if someone is interested to know how they get their points, that's the way to do it.
So for example, Metal Racer got 453 points in round 2 and 446 points in round 1. So that's the total of 899 points. So out of the guests that we have tonight, I think Mark, you're selecting a division. You're competing in Division 2 now.
Yeah, that's right. So the first round that started off, almost nobody was competing. Everybody was going for Division 1 and 3, and I was very lucky to fall number 1 just with a simple phase change and a GPU on water cooling. But round 2, everybody found out that nobody had participated in round 1, so everybody went all out for round 2. This time around, so there was a lot more competition, but a lot of fun. It's i5 is really a lot of fun to bench.
And what are your plans for this round 3 of the challenge?
So this round 3, Pascal has been introduced into the GPUs that you can use, so it will make things much more difficult. That means you have to go and buy a GTX 1070 in order to get some of the best scores, at least in the 3D portion. But I think in stage 1 and 2 and 3, which is related to the CPU, I plan on benching with my phase change, and we'll see how it goes from there.
So actually, you bought a Titan X, but you cannot use it for this one.
I cannot use it because it was launched one day after the release of this competition. So.
Oh, damn it.
And actually, looking at the rules, you need to use GTX 1070 or lower.
Or lower, that's right, yeah. I do have a 970, so I might participate with that one and see where that brings me.
And try to make the most out of it. What would be
That's
the benchmark you want to actually plan some more time on it?
So 3D Mark Time Spy, I spent at least 30 hours. It's only been out for maybe 2 weeks, but been focusing on that one a lot with a GTX 1080. But the principles will be the same for the lower GPUs. So I plan on focusing a lot of my time on that, see how much I can maximize my score. It's a lot. It's a fun bench. It's a quick bench with 3 scenes only, so you can easily do some tweaks and run it and see if you're doing better or worse. It's not like Heaven or some of these longer benches for sure. So it's quite fun. It's nice to see some new graphics, DX12 and everything. So it's pretty cool, yeah.
And I see that there's the GPU Pi. Not too afraid about that benchmark yet?
GPU Pi has recently launched a version 2.34, I believe it is, and it uses CUDA cores much better.
Correct.
So is this for? This is for the CPU, so I guess it doesn't actually matter. But yeah, so there's a lot of tweaks for CPU, GPU Pi CPU. So I think it all boils down to having a good CPU, but also knowing the tweaks behind it really helps.
Well, that's going to be interesting to see where you end up, because you're actually in the lead for this one, for the Division 2. And I hope that you can make some great score for round 3 and keep on pushing it for the remaining part of the season. Division 3 is based on Core i3 or Pentium and GTX 1060 or R9 or 370X from AMD or lower. That's the maximum specs you can use, and that's going to be fun to see if Sergey R and Metal Racer can actually fight their way out after the round 2. Division 4, actually, Buildzoid, you were most probably going to participate in that one, but you told us that you didn't participate in any yet.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, I could join Division 4 because I do have a decent FX 9590. It did validate 8 gigahertz, but I don't really bench competitions very much because I really bench for fun, and the time constraints on a lot of these things, I just, like, it's not that I don't have the time, I just forget to get stuff done on time. So I participated in Division 5 in 2015, but yeah, I never, like, I was never a huge fan of these kinds of competitions. So I just prefer benching for just straight rankings on like hardware points, or, well, usually it's just I basically decide to choose a certain piece of hardware and just go, let's try not blow this up and see how far it can go.
Well, usually that doesn't happen. Usually blow ups after a few sessions with you.
No, it usually stops working. Like, it either stops working because there's water on it, or it catches fire.
I like the last
it's
one.
like the water is actually the less dangerous one there, because I can dry it off and it'll probably start up again. When it catches fire, that's when we have a problem.
I can't wait to see that live.
Well,
there's some new benchmark as well in this one that some people are not quite used to it. Pi fast in a bench 3D Mark is mostly common for everyone. But why Cruncher Pi? Did you ever try that benchmark before?
I've heard of it. That's basically the end of my experience with it. I know it exists. I never tried it. Is that multi-threaded? That's multi-threaded, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, so that's pretty much all you know about that benchmark.
Yeah, that's
bring the
pretty much
CPU
it.
to its knees.
Yeah, actually that brings down the CPU quite bad. Moving to Division 5, it's based on the AMD A series of APU and using the IGP only. And Division 6, it's any single ARM processor. By the way, ARM that got bought by SoftBank in Japan, actually like two weeks ago. I think we talked about that in the previous some of the previous OC show, or actually in the previous live we did over a week and a half ago. And Division 7 is any AMD CPU with an Agena core plus an Nvidia G80 GPU. Basically, the Agena core is the first batch of Phenom CPU from AMD. So if you have an old Phenom, you can always go and participate in Division 7 for this round, just for the fun, just for the competition point, and just to see where you can rank with the against the other guys.
Actually,
so I can't wait to.
That one truth would be an interesting one to watch. Gonna be a lot.
Because that's gonna be long to do the benchmark, or
no. No, the opposite. I mean, it's gonna be fun to see people digging out old CPUs.
I think I still have some Phenom like this that will qualify.
Some obscure threads on the forum.
Those are like the cool thing about that is the old hardware, you can get it really cheap if you just want to get into some benching, and also you don't have to deal with trying to find data sheets for stuff because a lot of this stuff is really well documented. So like volt modding the 8800 Ultra, though I don't know, that's way beyond when I started doing computers. Well, yeah, that's way too old for me. I just know that the card exists basically. Yeah, but the old stuff, I that would be like my go-to competition if I had none of the other hardware available, then this would be what I'd go for because you can get this stuff super cheap secondhand.
I'm actually sure that Rasparde from OC and Tim, Mark, in the same team as you, right? Will go for that one.
Oh yeah.
He liked the oldies.
He went and bought a full garage full of old PCs about 2 weeks ago, and he had a full truckload just trying to bring everything over, and he had to leave most of it there because it didn't fit.
I can imagine the guy arriving with the U-Haul was like, "Are you guys moving?" No, I'm not moving. I'm moving in.
So he said that he already found a few gems in those, so he's dissecting every one of them one by one, and I think he's going to do a great job.
That's going to be fun to see what he can do. Another competition next to the Road to Pro is actually the Cheapaz chip competition. This one is going from July and August, and that's organized by the CCTF, the Community Communication Task Force,
right.
And mostly organized by Matt 0+0 from Australia. And this one you need to use the GT710 graphic card, so that's super cheap. Oh yeah, you have one, Mark.
Yeah,
I have one too.
Yeah.
Well, everyone has one, but
too.
You guys, everyone has one. Well, actually, I have one here as well. Wait. Where is it?
I have mine sitting in a drawer, just like right over there. We could, I don't know.
You want to make a picture?
Mine as well.
Is that it?
Might as well.
Okay. Mine too.
Show off your GTX 1070 day. Here it is.
I think they won't understand why this card is actually selling so high. I don't understand. This card is not worth anything, and I don't understand why people buy it. Well, because it's cheap. We don't care.
If you buy one of these, you have literally given up on just computers. It's so miserable.
A real computer.
Yeah, it's like these are actually the worst cards in these are almost as bad for performance per dollar as like the Titan X. So,
but the opposite way.
Because these are so slow that like integrated graphics beats them. So they're really
especially
not.
The latest version of integrated graphics.
Yeah.
But this one only cost me $38.
$35. Whoa! Because of the special Canadian tax, right?
That's right.
I got mine for £32. So yeah, extra capacitors on the back.
Yeah, I see. Actually, there's been some cool mods about it. New Life. Some very cool
I wanted to put out I've been meaning to put out a vault mod guide for the Asus card, but mine's already covered in PlastiDip for LN2 purposes, and I really don't feel like.
And yours is already modified quite as well, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I have the extra capacitors. And then I have core voltage. You can't do memory on the Asus card, so if anybody wants to get into the Cheapaz chips competition, if you want to do memory, the Asus card doesn't work. You can't. I have no idea who makes the card. I don't think that there is nothing I can do to find the actual data sheet for this card. So yeah, I'd give up on it unless you have industry contacts.
There's actually some guy, Orion24, that put it on their LN2. So I don't know how he succeeded mounting the pot. It's interesting.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. If I saw it on his Facebook, he's actually using some small pieces of plexiglass that he had to. Basically, he's screwing the pot to the plexiglass and then the plexiglass to the card, because you cannot adapt the card directly with the GPU pot. It doesn't work.
Yeah, because there's all those. Well, you could remove the chokes and put them the other way around on the other side, right? But
even that, most of the card doesn't have the right mounting.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's not the right mounting.
Look at the back of the card. There's actually there's not a single one that have the same mounting system.
Yeah, they don't all, none of them have the same mounting system, and they're all rectangular, so they don't fit any of the square brackets that you normally get with Pulse. But I think I might end up just...
You have the same issue as well, Buildzoid, huh?
Yeah, that's why I never... I'm actually thinking of sticking the Raptor 4 onto it somehow, which will be ridiculous, because this pot costs, like, several times, more than 10 times what the card did. So yeah, I think I might end up just, putting this side of it and just forcing it up against the card and not actually mounting it properly, because it's just not going to fit.
Was it the Raptor 4 also that Orion used? I think it looks like it, right?
Yeah, it looks like a 4. It has the same mounting by the looks of it. It could be the 3. It could also be the 3.
I think you just got one, so it must be the newest one.
I think it's the 4.
Yeah, it must be the 4, yeah, because the 3's cancelled, actually. You can't get the 3, which sucks, because it was cheaper.
Yeah,
well, actually, I was thinking, looking at the picture from Orion and the card we have, there's pretty much nothing in the back of the VGA on this one. So actually, you could just use like a big claw to just push the.
Yeah.
You could totally just clamp it on.
Just clamp it. Yeah, true.
I need to go down to the
even if there were some stuff on the back, you could still clamp it on top of it. If you go
just put some kind of
foam or something.
I have capacitors there right now, but you can still, even with my mod, right, I can get, if I have a clamp that's small enough, I can clamp against this and up here, and it would still work. So I need to go down to the hardware store. This poor little card hasn't seen the end of it. So this already did 1800 on dry ice with this.
What is that?
2 gigahertz. We're doing 2 gigahertz. That's the Raptor.
The one from Orion is at 1904, from what I can see.
And I think he said there's a limit that he can only go plus 1,000 offset for the core. So he's trying to figure out a way to pass that right now.
He's trying to get the right afterburner stuff that could work with the card or something.
It's like, oops, we maxed out the software that's not supposed to be maxed out in any way.
Yeah.
But it's a slider, it doesn't go further.
If this was an AMD card, I know a really easy hack for Sapphire Tricks, which you can just get whatever frequency you ever wanted, because it's a really simple hex edit. It's too bad I don't know anything for Nvidia yet, because this is my first Nvidia that I'm seriously benching in ever. So.
And it's a $38 card.
Yeah, it's the first Nvidia I care about, and it costs $30. Nvidia has to be so happy with me.
Well, so on one side we have Storytime. On one side we have the guy that bought the first card for $38, and on the other side we have the guy that bought the latest one for $1,200. Everything is complete here.
We've got the whole span of potential customers.
That would actually be funny if you, Mark, you would say oh no, I don't have any money left to buy this card.
Pretty sad.
Yeah, that would actually be sad. Mark, what do you think is the most fun about this competition?
The competition for me is I wanted to learn the modding. I've never done modding before. So fortunately, we do have David Miller on our Overclock.net team. He's an expert for doing modding on cards. So he did give me some suggestions on what to buy for modding, caps, and all that. So I made this huge purchase on Amazon the other day. I'm just waiting for everything to get here. I did get the soldering station, which is still in its package right now. But I will be trying that out.
Show it again. Sorry, I was on another shot. Yep. Ooh, nice, fancy, huh? With a lot of knobs.
Yeah.
Do they go to 11?
Mark
This one goes to 11.
Wink.
So still, the prices were decent. So I think it's a great opportunity to learn modding for the first time, and so now trying that on an expensive Titan X for sure. So $38 card, I'm ready to make that sacrifice and give it a go. Hopefully learn a few things and hopefully have a successful mod.
Yeah, I think a lot of people actually are like you. They're trying this card and this competition for the first time with the optic of modding. Yeah, because it's cheap. So whichever way, if you fuck up, it's not really a big deal.
That's right. Yeah,
you can get 10 of them. You're still not reaching the price of a Titan. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna need a lot of them to match the price of the Titan.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why at my first session is like that's why I really love this competition with the Cheapaz chips. Is like I went and used a cutout bottle to get dry ice on my card.
And Mr. Bottle again.
Yeah, I get the bottle. No, but it worked great, you know. And yeah, you can have the plastic bag dry ice pots, but the bottle actually, I didn't have an interface liquid, and it worked surprisingly well. I was getting minus 20 degrees and 1700 megahertz.
Well,
so
this was like 25 watts or something. It's like
yeah, no, the TDP the TDP for the card is 29 watts. So. Yeah, it doesn't pull a lot of power. I mean, especially once you pull down the temperature, it gets more efficient. So, yeah, you can probably you won't go beyond the limit of the PCIe slot, even if you completely max out the card. There's just no way.
So I wonder if there's a way to solder e-power or something like this on it. That would be just.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Actually, I'd argue if you have an e-power, I'd argue it's easier for say the Asus card, or some of these cards. It would be easier to just stick an e-power on them, if you can find the VRM enable pin. So, yeah, I mean, but that would be just completely insane.
Like the power delivery system is like twice the size of the card.
Yes.
Hey,
the e-power is the size. It's the e-power. The 2.0 at least is like the size of 140 millimeter fan. So this is like half that, literally half that. So.
Well, that's funny, and that was actually the same card that we were using at the World Tour on the test system.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually for competition we use that card because it just, especially on X99 actually, and competition with there's no 3D, it's just you plug the card. Those cards always work, like even with water everywhere, they always work. You put them at the back PCI socket so that way there's the less condensation hopefully, and just put them there and they keep working. So, and usually there's very little driver issues with those cards too. Because the more complicated the card gets, the more possible issues you get. So, weird stuff like resolution changes for no reason when you restart or things like that, which for streaming is kind of a problem sometimes.
Indeed, and and this one, Mark, so you have just say one word. What will you do if you burn this GT710?
I think I'll take photos and laugh.
Like, haha, that's $30.
That's nothing. I'll throw it out probably. Just have a
so,
good
Billzoid, you went with the Asus one. Mark, you went with which brand? The MSI one?
Yeah.
So, do you have a special reason why you pick up that specific card?
No, because I went on Kijiji, an online for sale website for used items, and there was this guy selling it for $25 Canadian, and he charged $13 for shipping. Whereas to buy it new, it would be $60 plus taxes, which would be close to $80. So it was just an economical choice.
So the guys that buy the Titan X is chipping out on the cheapest graphic card.
All right, it makes no sense, but
I paid $42 for mine, and I'm in the UK. That was shipped. So.
And then he
Can
has
you
this
understand?
nice plastic bottle set up there.
Yeah, do you?
I found it.
What? Yeah, mine's down at the bottom over there.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that plastic bottle.
Do you realize, Mark, that you actually spend more on shipping the Titan X than buying the whole GT710, right?
I'm starting to cry now. Try not to bring it back. I don't want those memories back.
You know, you'll be. Just hope that that Nvidia didn't do the old VRM level quality, because then you'll be like, oh, we put it under LN2. What was it? I think Vivi, for one competition, he had to LN2 cool the VRM, because the VRM was just so weak on the Titan, the original one. So he had to LN2 cool the VRM, and that was the only way to keep it running, because he didn't have an E-Power on hand.
Yeah.
Luckily, it seems like EVGA is going to be having a new batch of E-Powers sometime soon, as they've been asking about what PCB color we want them to be.
There will be,
Well,
be specially designed for this card there.
This one is super small.
Yeah, it's actually maybe about a centimeter shorter, I think. But the cooling, where you have the EVGA GT710 is longer. It goes all the way to the I/O port.
All the way to 11.
Oh yeah, whichever way you like it, Drew. It goes all the way.
Oh boy, guys, it's already. I know we are doing the.
My Asus card is longer. My Asus card is longer because you can see the heatsink extends beyond the PCB.
Yeah, you seem
right
to have
there.
more chokes at the end too, for some reason.
What?
I don't
More
know
chokes?
those.
No,
Yeah.
it's just capacitors.
Oh,
Those right there.
Those are the one you modded,
Those are-
right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The funny thing is, one of these doubles the original capacitance of like the main capacitors on there. So, you know, two of them and the VRM not like, yeah, it's insane. One of those capacitors is like $50. So, it's like I just raised the cost of that card a lot.
Well, that's crazy, and I can't wait to see like all the people doing the modification and going crazy on this card because it's super cheap. So actually, it doesn't matter if you break it; you can just buy a new one, or you won't even cry for it because it's like,
It's like
too
an
bad,
expensive
right?
dinner. It's like an expensive dinner. So
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
when
it's like-
you went to go have a steak or something.
It's like, darling, we don't go to the restaurant tonight. I burned the GT710, so I need to buy 2 new ones. Like, say what?
exactly.
Yeah, apparently so there's on the chat, Cax Viper, he's saying, yeah, for the E-Power, they're not doing it anymore. You have to ask Vince directly to get one. That's also what I hear, but I was not aware they were doing it for really everyone asking. So,
Right, so you can still get the 2.0 version of the E-Power, because I've been interested in buying a couple
I guess
of
it seems you have to ask
guess you
Vince,
should
huh? Maybe they
contact
still have
yeah,
some
Vince.
in
Oh,
stock.
that's me.
Or they do it custom if you need one or something.
custom on demand.
Yeah, seems like it.
And soldered by tin.
But for sure they're
And
not
soldered by
sold
tin.
through the EVGA
Hey,
side
if
anymore.
I could save money on doing it, soldering it myself, I'd love to do that. I'd have my
No,
own
but you
DIY
cannot source.
E-Power.
You cannot source the IC. The issue is the IC. You cannot
Yeah,
source
but
the
they
IC.
could, like, they could give you like a pack of all the ICs for you, just not soldered together yet. Though I guess it might be cheaper for them to just solder it for you if they have a real production line for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, guys, it's been more than 1 hour. We're actually doing the show.
We are running a bit late today.
Yeah. Well, at least we started on time.
Yes, we can't have everything.
Everything. Let's go quickly over the last topic for today. That was the 10 years anniversary of Conroe, the Core 2 Duo. So 10 years ago, the Conroe launched, and when this one launched, it was such a huge step forward in terms of performances by Intel. They basically smashed everyone else 10 years ago at this time, and pretty much it stayed like this for the past 10 years. So for us, that was extremely impressive. First, to have all these new, performances and way of doing things. But at the same time, when I saw the news, I was like, "Oh damn, that's already been 10 years."
You're getting old.
And this was like, whoosh. Too bad, because that's where you're thinking you're getting old, right? Actually, Mark and Bitzoid, you were not active overclocker at the time when this one went off. So first, Mark, what is your what does Conroe and Core 2 Duo sounds for you?
For me, it's the part where I skipped all that and went right in the i5 750. Anything before that, I don't know much about it.
So 2009, more or less.
2009, yeah.
So that the generation pretty much after that. But basically, what is in your mind, like what does Conroe like trigger or Core 2 Duo trigger for you?
If I remember correctly, I had a MacBook with a Core 2 Duo.
Which version? MacBook?
I think it might have been the MacBook Pro 17-inch, and it was the Core 2 Duo. I'm pretty sure it was a Core 2 Duo. That was like my that's basically all I know about them. So I never at the time I wasn't really into computer hardware because I had a Mac. That gives it away, doesn't it?
Say the guy that knows by all the cards. Timothy, what would be your historical remind of the Core 2 Duo era?
Core 2 is probably the first PC or the first CPU I used to do video encoding. You know, back in the day when making DivX file out of DVDs was kind of a thing, you know, before ADSL and stuff like that.
Well, like before no one else is ripping DVD anymore?
Well, you know, it's just like copying cassettes and stuff. So that was the thing back then. And Core 2 Duo was the killer chip to do it, right? Those were the first chip that arrived with multiple threads and cores and things like that. So that was the cool thing. And also after that, Core 2 Duo also is the first time in Canada when I went to bench to your place, Truth. That was also that time. So that's some very good souvenir actually on Core 2 Duo. It was, I mean, if you compare it to today's CPU, it's super crap, right? It's very slow, but back then it was a killer thing.
Slower,
and it was
it's actually slower than the G3120 or 3220. So the slowest Celeron you can get is actually a little bit more performing better than actually these mid-range CPU from the time.
It just shows how much evolution there has been. But those CPUs were heating a lot. It was a lot of fun to overclock. People actually overclocked them for a very long time. Like the Q6600 was famous and still kind of is at the moment. And after like maybe the 750, 760s, like you were saying, Mark. Yeah, very good souvenirs all the way to G3258, G3220, etc. I keep going all the way to today's CPU. Yeah? It never stopped.
It never stopped, indeed. And looking at the price, that's something we talked a little bit earlier in the discussions. So the Core 2 Duo, when it was released, the price was about $316, USD, of course. And today, the Core i7-4790K, so the as well Devil's Canyon CPU, is $339 at launch. So that was like, you know, $20 difference between the two. And the year after, when they did the 8600 CPU, the E8600 CPU, this one was cheaper than the E6600. So everyone jumped on this one as well. So everyone was actually moving on the new generation. And the first real big quad-core CPU that goes out by Intel, like the Q6600 and the Q9650, they were all super highly priced, like more than 500 USD. Yeah. And that's when people started to do like, okay, I need to step a little bit further and check if these make worth it to do it. And that's where all the all the competitive overclocking and so on was actually going super crazy, like the first big bump of it. And that was, I remember, like I was still living in France and Canada, like I was in between the two at that time, and in France there were so many people trying to get their hand on like the golden E6600 or 86 or 8500. That was super crazy at the time. I remember like Bob Le Magnifique, Overcrash, all the guys from Overclocking, OCM, Overclocking Master at the time.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people were already binning back in those days. Not as an industrial scale thing like today, or like a Case King would do it, but as individuals, people were just trying to get the money to buy some. There were a lot of events as well. Like everywhere, people were like overclockers were gathering a lot among themselves on events to try to show off. Like overclocking with liquid nitrogen was sort of a new thing to show on events, right? Like it existed already before, but it was really around that time, 2006, that it really started to be something more visible to the public. Even though like pots and all that equipment was still very
amateur.
Yeah, like if you compare it to pots from today, like the whole thing really evolved, and it's pretty cool. Also, we have to say that before that time, Intel had some serious competition with AMD as well, right?
like before releasing Conroe and the Core 2 Duo, AMD was pretty much
The
in
world
the
was
lead.
different.
The world was different. AMD was on top, and they had the Opteron, the Atlan FX, and all these super powerful CPU that they had at the time, super efficient as well. While on the other hand, before the Core 2 Duo, Intel was still relying on the Pentium 4, like the NetBurst architecture and so on. And this one was super hot. Like the Prescott and NetBurst and all that were all super crazy hot. Actually, that's why most people were using AMD CPU. And if I recall correctly, there was some of the Opteron from AMD that were having cold bug at some like -5 degrees. So it was like complete nightmare to try to overclock them under LN2. So that was fun to see that people actually jump on board the Core 2 Duo. That was such a massive step forward in terms of performances that, like, honestly, like everyone was like, okay, I'm done. I'm just gonna sell my AMD setup and just gonna buy Intel one. And that was the still the GT710. So the same socket as they were using before as well, just different motherboard like they do today. So like for the Broadwell E, they used the same socket, but you need a new revision for it. So they were keeping the same content of trying to use the same socket and so on. So yeah, that was some very good time. A lot of good memories as well. A lot of the first event and the first overclocking demonstration and at this time.
Yep.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, it was good. I guess for the two other guests, it's something they haven't known, so
Yeah.
it's more of a,
Interesting.
Like watching two grandpas talking about their story, like you
Yeah.
remember
Back in
time.
the days.
I have Pentium 4, and no, Pentium the cheapest one you get.
Yeah, you could also refer to that time when people were buying AMD not because it was just cheap or cheaper. Like
I
before that,
remember
before that time.
we had
Back in my day, AMD actually had performance.
Yeah.
remember that time we had to modify the motherboard, kids. You remember the motherboards? When was the last time you soldered something on the motherboard? This is crazy, my friends. This was the good time. We were using pen to do mobs.
We're losing it. So your
Oh my
roommate
God.
is about to go to sleep, Bilzoid, according to Neo, who's keeping a close eye on him.
You still planning on playing Dark Souls? You plan to
I guess
continue
so.
playing Dark Souls? Or do you plan to go to sleep anytime soon?
Tell him people on the stream are curious.
Nah, looks like he's gonna keep playing Dark Souls.
Cool.
Okay, but for us, it's time to wrap up. Thank you guys for being here with us tonight. I'm sure we're gonna have the time to talk about all the latest, the last thing we had over the past 10 years in the evolution. We could do actually a 2-hour show for that, but I would love to actually have some of the people behind it from Intel or formerly at Intel to talk about it. That would be even more interesting to talk. Tim, when will be the next OC show?
So like every week, we'll try to make it next week. So somewhere around the middle of next week, there will be a new OC show. It will be just a casual thing with Peter here at the office going quickly through the news, and yeah, that should be it, I think. for the
Perfect.
next one.
And if you're just tuning in on Twitch today, don't forget you can rewatch this video on YouTube on our channel OverClocking-TV. And if you're watching this one on YouTube, let us know in the comments what topic you want us to talk about next one in the next OC Show live Q&A. Thank you guys for watching this live episode. Thank you, Mark, for your time. Thank you, Bitzoid, for your time. We're gonna let you go back playing some games with your friends. And Timothée, thank you very much for doing all the click and the production for tonight's show. We will see you soon next week in recorded edition in 2 weeks for the live one. Don't forget, always subscribe to the Twitch channel here or follow us on YouTube. Until next time, keep pushing it.
Pushing it.
Keep pushing it.